60-minute session for a client. So I'm going to be sharing psychic wisdom and energy healing. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. All right, so we're going to be visiting the Arcturians today. Thank you so very much for the opportunity to connect with you. Thank you so much for sharing this experience with others. All right, so you write, I would love to receive an Arcturian style healing. All right, we're going to make that happen. This is going to be so neat. I love connecting with Arcturians. Okay, I'm in the zone. I'm ready. Arcturians. Okay, so there's a tidal wave of water that goes around and around and around in a circle, okay, and creates a tunnel of water. And I experience the third eye, and there's sort of like a white coil, and it is more like a coil than like a spiral that goes into a tornado shape. It's kind of the same shape from beginning to end. So it's like a coil, and it's white, okay? And it's inside this tidal wave that just, it never fully rolls over. It just stays kind of in a circulation. It has to do with the third eye. So it's like they've been talking to you, but you're not following through on what you've been talking about with them. You've been talking together. They're not necessarily saying that's quite right. They're talking to you. You're not responding. You're not acknowledging the conversation. It has to do with psychic ability. It has to do with opening up psychic ability. They don't even want to define it as opening psychic ability. That's silly. Nobody has to open their psychic ability. You use your psychic ability. You work with your psychic ability. You do not open your psychic ability. You work with your psychic ability. Are you working with your psychic ability? Are you working with your psychic ability? You do not need to open your psychic ability. You need to work with your psychic ability. Are you working with it? You bumble around this conversation. You hear them just fine. You're acting like you don't. It's really funny. The picture they show me is you literally walking. You even walk backward in a circle, and then you walk forward and around and backward. It's really funny to watch, and you're just like hum 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 hum. Ha ha ha. Arcturians are talking to you. Yeah, yeah, boo 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 coo coo do 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 do. I don't hear what anything talking blah 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 geeky goo goo. I don't know. It's kind of like you're really goofy, and you're walking around in a circle, and you even walk backward and then forward and then backward and then forward, around and around in a circle, and the Arcturians are having a very grounded and articulated conversation, and you're just being silly. You don't, literally, they would prefer you either acknowledge them or do not acknowledge them. I mean, they kind of understand the human nature. They kind of understand. So they would prefer that you state something to them like, I'm afraid of working with my psychic ability. I'm afraid of connecting with you. You know, because sometimes we use words like I'm afraid. Well, is it really scary? Maybe, because it is the unknown. Is it really like life threatening? It's like you're going to like get hung on the cross or burned at the stake, you know? Is it really terrifying? Like you're going to have your tongue cut out of your face? Like, is it really scary? So why are you not working with your psychic ability? Like, why are you not acknowledging them? What are you afraid of? Is it really that scary? Is it really that scary? And if you say, yes, it is, then we need to explore that. You have a right to say, yes, it is that scary. Yes, it does feel like I'm being branded with an iron into my flesh that's melting and I can smell it. Like it is terrifying to me. Like I'm being roped up and thrown into a freaking dark hole for an entire year straight with nothing but rats and insects to feed off of. Like it you could say yes, it is that scary. And then if it is that scary, then we need to explore that next, okay? That's literally what's coming to me. There's a council of Arcturian. I mean, we, the human race, it is a council of Arcturians. What does that mean? There's like 13 super ultra Arcturians that talk to billions of human beings all at a simultaneous moment. Maybe. I just simply see a group of Arcturians that are kind of like assigned, or they know you, or they are trying to work with you, something of this nature. But it does have the language council does seem appropriate for some reason. So we'll call them a council of Arcturians, okay? They're kind of making a joke. One of them says, or you could call us work buddies. We're your work buddies. I like that. They're your work buddies. You got a group of work buddies in the Arcturian race. Whenever you're ready, work buddies for you. Okay. They are really articulate, man. They're like, the reason we aren't called work buddies is because work buddies is kind of very laid back. It's very relaxed. It's like somebody you go to happy hour after work, and that's your work buddy. We're a council because we're professionals. Like we're elite, we're developed, we're intelligent, we're serious, we are articulate, we are direct, we aren't beating around the bush, we are straightforward. So if you find that intimidating, then you need to state that. Okay, sure. I mean, I think then this is my interpretation as well as to what they're getting at here is what I always find and I love about the Arcturians is they are so straightforward and they are really encouraging the human race to not beat around the bush. Always be straightforward with what you can or cannot do. Be honest at all turns. Be honest with yourself and be honest with others. It's interesting because they understand human humor, but they also are kind of saying that humor in a way is avoidance, is you creating a comfort zone without acknowledging reality. So they can work with humor. However, they want to work with straightforwardness. They want to work with yes or no. And if you don't have a yes or no, then say, I'm not sure yet. I just simply don't know because I want this, but then I'm worried about that. So then we start to work through as best as you can define it, okay? I understand. So they also are saying that by defining them as a council of 13 Arcturians, it develops a genuine bond because a work buddy could be talking about you behind your back and it doesn't matter and then you just forgive each other and go get beers later. It's just it's like there's something a little rough around the edges, undefined, and like it doesn't matter, whatever is kind of the vibration of work buddy. Council is there for you. Council takes this seriously. Council will always respect you, will always be honest with you. Council will be direct with you. Council will be these things. The good thing about a council is that you know exactly what you are getting. You know exactly what you are getting. It's not what you think you are getting, it's what you are getting. It's what you are getting. And I find that to be kind of refreshing on your heart here, because it's really nice to have beings in your life that could be so straightforward, that could be so direct, because you do know what you're getting, and there isn't any, you don't have to read between the lines, you don't have to guess and check, you don't have to just whatever, we're imperfect people, you know. The Arcturians are looking for ways to strengthen and empower, not settle, strengthen and empower, and acknowledge what you can and cannot do very articulately, and then decide if you're ready to do more at this time or not at this time. I mean, they're very specific, but it is refreshing for you. You're kind of emanating it feels refreshing for your heart to hear this, because it is really, it almost is like the perfect parents in a way. The perfect parents are articulate. They'll tell you it directly. And what they say is the direct truth, and it is actually supporting your growth and development, and it is in that way honoring of you at every turn. And if these parents can't be that way, then they are not honoring of you, and you hear that they are honoring of you, and you want that in your life. Okay, it feels a little bit much now. We're entering into a space which would be a safe space for you, the human, and I see the Arcturians are surrounding you in a ring around you, like a bracelet. And it's a little too close. It's a little too close feeling. We're just going to relax here, because when you look at the Arcturians, what it bounces back is, I mean, they're a reflection. We're all a reflection, okay? It feels like hard work. It feels like expectations that you'll never meet. It feels like the bar is way too high. It feels that way, okay? Simply when you look and acknowledge the Arcturians are there, what echoes back to you, it's sort of overwhelming, you know? Like you could even feel it as, I am a letdown. Oh, I'll never reach those expectations. I don't know that I'm ready for this anyway, dot, 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 excuse, excuse, excuse. So they really emanate a certain caliber that intimidates you, because you feel as though you have to reach that caliber now. Are you ready to reach that caliber? The question is that exactly true? Because they're not asking you to reach their caliber. They're simply asking you what you want and what you do not want. That's all they're asking you. And you seem to be the one that's reaching out to them. And so you are reaching out to them. Now acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. Work with your psychic ability. They don't particularly like, I don't know how to work with my psychic ability. It feels like they're frown upon that statement, almost like that is the human go-to. My psychic ability is blocked. How do I open up this ability? How do I activate this ability? I polluted air and polluted water, blah, blah, blah. I can't work with my psychic ability. They're really, these are all kind of manipulations of the mind that are creating avoidance of what you need to be acknowledging, that you have psychic ability. Now you are ready to work with it. Otherwise you are ignoring it or avoiding it. But they're kind of showcasing it in this way. A child grows up in a wheelchair. Nobody ever told the child that those legs could stand and run and climb trees, etc. So now we have a whole human race that is in wheelchairs because they started somewhere along the lines believing that they couldn't use their legs anymore. So we have a whole human race that has active psychic ability deciding that they don't. And in this other image, we have a whole human race that has perfectly functional legs and they are deciding that they can't use them and they need to be in a wheelchair. Then when they try to use their legs, they fall into the ground and see, look it, I proved it. I just proved to the whole world that my legs don't work and I need a wheelchair. You didn't practice, did you? You didn't even try and then practice some more in order to prove it to yourself that your legs work perfectly fine, that your psychic ability works perfectly fine. And just so you know, they're very straightforward. They're not mad. They're not mad at all. They have zero mad in them at all. They're just very straightforward. And in a way, it's almost like how would I define it? It's not mad or angry. It's almost like we are degrading of ourselves, and they find that to be offensive. That we human beings are so degrading of ourselves, they find that to be offensive. Because why are we doing that to ourselves? We are offensive toward ourselves, which is there's something offending there. I feel like there's something offending there. It's like lying to yourself. It's like blatantly lying to your friends or lying to your parents, and you're just using the easy way out. It's offensive. It's actually it's shameful to do that. That is shameful. You can simply say, I am ready to. How does this need to be stated exactly? Work with, you don't need to open, you're not blocked, you have active psychic ability. What are you going to do with it? Like, what is it that you want the statement to be? Okay, they show me you on a chair. And they're risen above, like the bracelet around you, they're risen above in a circle around you, and there's a blue light that is beaming down from above through your top of your head, through your crown chakra, and it just goes straight through the top of your head. They're asking me they say, Abbey, what does this do? I tell them that it does whatever you believe it does. So what do you believe that this is doing? This blue light coming down, what do you believe that it is doing? I'm talking to you. Interestingly enough, your inner self knows what it is doing. It's not what it believes it is doing, what it knows that it is doing. Your inner self knows what it is doing. And without saying anything, I experienced this shell that just cracks and falls off like it's made out of iron, like you were encased in some kind of iron shell, and it just cracks and just falls in two halves onto the ground. And I see you as this squirming, squishy material, like a body that has no bones. And you're squirming around on the inside. But you're happy and you're not afraid. And I start to see the blue light is turning you into blue light. and you're not fighting any of the weird thoughts that come to your mind. I mean, we're talking, it's almost like you're allowing whatever comes to your mind to come to your mind without you scrutinizing it. And it's weird things. I mean, it's weird things like drinking a cup of pee, um, licking poop out of a diaper. I mean, it's really weird things, which is really kind of your ego, the part of you that is afraid of opening up to more, is creating distracting and confusing images in order to derail you or trip you, in order to get you to stop doing this. But if you don't hold on to, if you don't try to analyze or make sense of it, they all disappear. And it's just being completely receptive to growth. I mean, being completely receptive to growth. When you're completely receptive to growth, you aren't using anything with your mind to make sense of anything, because you can't really make sense of what this is. It's like trying to understand the human awakening. Your mind isn't going to be able to, and you can try to envision what that would be like. You can imagine what that would be like, but to become that is two different things. To think about it, to imagine about it is one thing, but to become that is a totally other thing, because that is the actual real experience. And to become what is beyond as they're guiding you does not require you to try to make sense of any of this, because it can't truly be made sense of. It can only be experienced. You have to allow that experience and to know it is safe, because you will only ever be up against yourself. You won't even be up against people or this world. You will only ever be up against yourself. And that's what they're here to help you with, because if there's any part of you that says no, or says I'm afraid, or I'm not ready yet, then you are up against yourself. So then we can explore that if you would like to. So that's always the ball in your court, and it's very supportive. But they're really encouraging to be articulate what you can or cannot do, and then state as best you understand why, and then to own the answer without hesitation, without wonder, just to own that answer. Okay, why? My life is crazy, I need simplicity right now. Okay, okay. So they're letting you guide your own. I mean, you're the train on your own track, and you say what you want or what you don't want. You state why as best you can interpret, and then you own that decision. That is bringing you back into control here, okay? You decide your own path, your own fate, your own future, but they're helping you to understand yourself or to conquer yourself. But they're really emphasizing work with your psychic ability. Work with your psychic ability. Why are you not working with your psychic ability? Okay, let's explore this. It's like, it's really what it is. You are this kind of moving substance where the iron shell cracked and broke and fell to the ground into two halves. And you're kind of risen above the ground here, levitating in there, or levitating above you. And you're happy, and you're starting to sing from your heart, and you're telling them how much you really love and value them so much, and thanking them for caring and for being here and for loving you enough to be straightforward with you. It's very refreshing, because they do not lie. They are very direct. They do not lie. They really are more so like this. what we are will help to guide you into yourself. What your fears are, insecurities, what your avoidances are, where your ego is at, how you are allowing yourself to truly interpret what freedom is. I mean, these concepts are real complex. You could say it's quite simple to know what freedom is, but let's say you are free. Now, the experience of that freedom is taken away through other experiences. Now, you can't ever get back to that other sensation of freedom, so you find a new sensation of freedom. Like there could be people in prison and find freedom in that experience. That would have seemed impossible if you lived off the land and the mountains and blah, blah, blah. And truly free, like there are different experiences of freedom. So freedom can be quite a complex exploration. So they're here to help you discover your inner workings. But they're bringing something out, again, guiding your path based on something more about who you are that you need to acknowledge is who you are as a psychic person, and to work with who you are. They're showing me too that as a human being, we won't acknowledge things that are quite obvious, like it's right there in front of our face, but we won't ever see it. Like the Arcturians have always been there right in front of your face, but you've been kind of goofy and going around in a circle, like backward and forward and backward and forward. And only for you to finally get to a point where you will acknowledge them. Like, how long do we have to go around the merry-go-round before you finally just stop beating around the bush? Psychic ability, let's get directly to the point here. It could be right in front of your face and you're just not owning up to it because of this belief system that you didn't even know you had. So they're helping you to see, okay? Because that is something you want on the inside. Otherwise, you wouldn't be guided to working with them. They are a specific type of guidance to help you see in a specific way that you are wanting to help yourself to see, okay? All right, so they're showing me more of the softer side. They're not robots. They're just really specific. It's very important to be specific because the human being it's like we need to be introduced to the importance of honesty and the importance of direct communication and the importance of articulating what we want or do not want. Like that's an important part of this beginning of this message, but they're showing me a softer side. And there's a female Arcturian being. And she's playing the piano. And she shows me her fingers are learning the notes. Her fingers are learning the positions. And so she starts with this key. And now she goes to this key, and then she goes back to this key, and then she goes to this key, and then this key. Then she goes back to this key, and then this key, and then this key, and then this key. So she's showing me how she is teaching her mind and her hands to where those keys are in conjunction with where that note is. Oh, this finger does this note and this. So it's teaching, it's expanding your abilities with practice. And where do you begin? With Mozart? You begin with the beginning, the first note. Just understanding where that's located and how that feels on your finger and what that note sounds like. You start with one note. You start simple. And when you start simple, you become a little bit more complex in your ability, and then you make it even more expanded than that, and then you go and go and go and go and go and go and go until it's just, you could do it with your eyes closed and it's all memorized and you're a wizard at the piano. Where does the piano wizard begin? With the first note. That is what practice achieves. Practice achieves it. Daydreaming does not achieve this. Practice achieves this. Practice, active work creates the gift and the talent to become the piano wizard, okay? Or the pinball wizard. Or whatever, you know? All right, let's see what she says next. She says, once you learn the technical experience, develop the technical experience, develop it in your mind, in your hands, develop it in the movement, in the flow, in the sounds, your heart starts to also beat. Your heart starts to also feel, and you feel a connection with the flow of the music. It's not a separate experience, it's a oneness. It's a oneness experience where there is no instrument and hands and mind and interpretation. There's just an expression of it all. And when you can reach the level of talent where you're just an expression of that, that is when you reach like what is kind of a spirit realm level of expression. And she shows me exhaustion, shows me like a couch potato, kind of like, I'm going to practice laying on this couch and eating some food and zoning out, man. And I'm going to become one with this experience until there's nothing else there but the experience. You could also do that too. And she wants you to explore what one feels the most enriching to you at this time. And she's not saying that being a couch potato is not more or less enriching than becoming a talented piano wizard. Because some souls need to know what it's like to be a couch potato, and some souls want to become the piano wizard. And so, what is appropriate for you at this time? It's okay to state what is appropriate for you at this time. There's no such thing as shame. Zero such things as shame. It's really important that she present it like this, because I do feel something a little bit like maybe disappointed in yourself about something. Okay, she's raising her hand like, I want to speak. Okay, what did you want to say? That is something we need to acknowledge. If ever you hit a note inside yourself where you are disappointed in yourself, speak to your council of 13 Arcturians. I'm disappointed in myself, and I want to work on this. No, I am working on this. I am working on this. Okay, so I'm noticing this disappointment, and I am working on this with the help of the Arcturians are helping me work on this right now. She's nodding. Yes, okay, that works. So then what? We just wait and just expect it to be resolved or something? What does this blue light represent? Whatever you believe it represents. But somehow you know what it represents. I am working on this disappointment with the Arcturians. I am. I'm facing it. What is happening now? I'm going to go to a specific feeling that I felt inside yourself. So I want to hear the sound of it. It's like poopy clam chowder. It's just a gross, yucky smell and feeling. It's just a gross, yucky, okay? Feel that. Taste the gross, yucky. The Arcturians are working on supporting me through this. What do you believe? Arcturians are supporting me with a blue light. And this blue light is illuminating this for me in the ways that I need to see it or work through it or let it go. And I'm allowing that to happen without thought. Without trying to make sense of any of this, I'm just allowing it to happen. Remember, ascension isn't a thought, it is a process, it is an experience. It can't be daydreamed about. It has to be an experienced process for it to be real, truly real. And so the more you think about it, the more attached you become to the wonder or the why or what do I need to do with it. But if you just allow the acknowledgement that it is being supported, the Arcturians are helping, the blue light is there and it will illuminate what it needs to illuminate or support the letting go of whatever needs to be let go of. And I don't need to think about it any further than this. And now I'm moving forward without a second thought. They show me you raising the vibration of yourself so fast when you don't think too much. You just allow. Okay. Whew. There's something about yellow. I want to call it a banana, but it's made out of wood. It's kind of shaped like a banana, and it's got a glossy yellow color. It's not a banana, it's more like the bottom of a boat. This is exhausting me for some reason. I'm just going to continue to look at it. I'm going to touch it with my hand. I'm going to have you touch it with your hand. I see a nursery and the same female Arcturian is here and you're just a little boy. And you're playing with a boat that has a yellow bottom to it. I start to see there's yellow or white trim and then it's kind of basic. There's a blue top over this little compartment on top of the boat. It's not particularly big. It's like a fishing boat. It's smaller though. Like a speedboat, but more basic. You're talking to the boat as though it is a person and not a boat. And you're telling the boat about something that upsets you. And you're kind of describing it in a weird way, like you're making noises to describe it, and then and that's what happened. It's more than creative though than that. It's more adorable than that. Like, it's so amazing to be an adult and to listen into a kid talking to themselves about something they're going through with a toy. It means a lot. Like, it does something to your heart and it brings back memories, and you really truly understand that child's behavior. And you see the same things inside yourself, memories of times when you did that too. And it's like, it makes so much sense. And I see this Arcturian woman watching you. And everything is so natural and nothing is withheld. It just flows. When you're a kid, it just flows. Even the act of talking to yourself where other people are around that could listen in or overhear you, you don't even think about that. You don't even think about people overhearing you and then thinking about what you're saying. You just are in your own world with whatever your emotion is and whatever the moment means to you. You just are in that moment completely. And she's emanating that sensation of freedom for you. Like that is real freedom for you, to be able to be freely yourself. And if you want to talk to yourself to a toy boat in a public space with other people your own age, then so be it. Is there shame or embarrassment or confusion in that? This is your life. Only you can hold yourself back. Because the child isn't held back. So what inspires the child to awaken to the fact they're being watched or overheard? Or what awakens the child to these other dimensions of perspective that alter then their behavior as they get older? Where does that come from? And she shows me human beings that are like tightly closed cupboards with old expired food that they'll never get rid of, and cobwebs and spiders that they don't acknowledge are there. And they'll tidy one area that's easy to clean, and they'll forget about the others and let them go to waste because they just don't want to do the work. She's breaking down anything inside yourself that closes the cupboards tight and is giving you the freedom to breathe and remember that only you can hold yourself back. That you can be a way forward for those adults who are still tightly closed cupboards. That you can be a way forward, like people could see you and feel inspired. She's talking about honesty, direct communication, being free to speak your truth, being comfortable in your own skin to do that, being a guide or a leader of others, having a psychic connection, which she doesn't at this level define it as psychic. It's just you have an innate connection with everything in the universe because you do. Any excuses as to why you don't have that is as silly as the whole human race suddenly deciding one day that we can't use our legs and we all need to be in a wheelchair from now on. And thousands of years later, there's still people that believe we need to be in wheelchairs. And we're still following that societal belief, and we just don't stop until somebody decides to stand up and make a change. And to be a representative of that change for others to decide if they want to be that change or not. Because she's like, you can't change people. All you can do is follow your heart. Then people are inspired by your authenticity, by your achievements, and then they make changes accordingly. Whether you influence them to influence themselves to do that, in the end, they did it for themselves. But you can represent something that is true and honest and authentic, and you can become developed. Only thing that stands in your way is yourself. And the same goes for everybody around you. The only thing that stands in everybody's way is themselves. It's not society, it's not people, it's not anything but themselves. You feel different. You start thinking about the blue light and what it means to you. It's opening you up to a lot of things that you know about it. it's interesting is when you start saying, I know what blue light represents to me, even if you can't formulate a concept, a statement, you can formulate a feeling or a sensation. You're going to open up pockets inside yourself. And that is the awakening. That's something you dream about because it's not conceivable. You start saying, I know what the blue light represents, and then you allow the knowing to be presented so that you can start working with it and explain it to others, what it means to you. Because that's all you can ever do is express yourself, and people then will do whatever they need to do with that. And you don't owe anything to people, like you don't owe anything to anybody. It's your life. What do you want to do with it? And people would do what they want to do with their life, okay? It's really important that you know this truth because it's like, it helps you to be strong and empowered. Now, if something inside yourself says, oh, I want to help this person, in whatever way I believe that helping this person is, because you can't conceivably know what that person actually needs. You can only try to understand it. So you follow through with an idea, and then maybe you do it because you want to feel better about yourself, or you want to define yourself as a good person. Like, we make decisions in ways that we don't even really realize what and why we are doing it. So the more true to ourselves, the more we are asking for help to be true to what we really are, is going to empower, okay? But you follow through with what feels right for you at that time. So if what's right for you is to help that person by doing this, then do this and own it, and then do the next thing. And if the next thing is to think for hours about that interaction and that exchange, then do that thing. It's owning it. It's acknowledging it for yourself. As I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. I'm not ready for this yet. I don't know what to do about this. Okay, then you don't know. Okay, I hear you again say, I know what the blue light represents. I know what the blue light is. And the more you say it, the more something unlocks inside yourself. I hear it even like a door unlocking. You don't say, I am the blue light. You say the blue light is a gift. And I work with the blue light. And the blue light works with me. And the blue light, the Arcturians work with the blue light, and the blue light works with the Arcturians. As though the blue light itself is a consciousness. And you start to feel the blue light in the palms and fingertips of your hand. Both of your hands. And you just start to feel the blue light sort of absorbing into your being. Not just your mind or your head, but into your body, into your heart, into your organs, into your physical form. But it's into your awareness, though, too. Into your eyes and the way you see the human world. Okay. Okay, well, what next? Okay. We see you shedding the human skin and looking at yourself in the mirror as an Arcturian, okay? This actually helps mega helps because, all right, so basically in your energy field, I'm vibrationally attuning you to that sound so that you feel a balanced connection with the Arcturians without any random surprises getting in the way that pushes them away from you. What is pushing them away? Deeper aspects of yourself that are intimidated, insecure, whatever. And so when you see yourself in the mirror as an Arcturian, it allows you to vibrationally um, sound the same as they sound. So you sound as though you are part of their collective. And that is good. That is very good. And it's good to see yourself with a different sense of self because you're not just human. It makes you feel warm and happy in your heart. You feel peaceful. You feel like you're surrounded by family. Arcturians are definitely, I don't want to define any one race as your family. I don't relate to that at all. I feel like everybody, every creation, everything is family. And so there's no one family. It's all family. But I do feel a vibrational connection here that is very sentimental and meaningful, and it feels like family, okay? In a really good, long overdue kind of way. Like a genuine and individualized connection with the Arcturians that is your special connection with them, and it feels really beautiful and like family. And you want to just be with them in their world for a while. Like, you just want that. You don't even have to think about it. Like, I want this, I don't want this. That all disappears, and you just know instinctively, intuitively that this feels like home and this is where you want to be right now because you just feel it inside, and it is just easy to just be in that knowing and follow through with that knowing without resistance or question. It's supernatural. It's very breathable, comfortable. Okay. I feel so much bliss going on here, but I feel like there's this sort of astral connection, let's just say. I don't want to call it astral, it's a vibrational connection. And I feel like there's that, and then there's this physical form, this human life. So there's kind of two distorted truths going on at the same time. And it's kind of exhausting me. This is really cool. I've never seen this before, but I see several angels appearing with your Arcturian family, and they have extremely tall wings. And they're kind of elongated bodies that are probably 9 foot tall angels with like really ridiculously tall wings. And I see them bowing to the Arcturians. The Arcturians glow and send them light. And there's this balance knowing between hearts and between presence of love and support for you. So it's like Arcturians and angels are balanced in their connection. Like, it's so neat to think of the Arcturians as working with angels as well. Like, because we don't really blend the galactic world with the angelic world, but I'm seeing a blending here of angels and Arcturians, and it's so cool. It is so absolutely cool. It's like two factions of love, two unique factions of love that are here surrounding you with love and support. It is so awesome. Oh man, it's like, who do I want to hug first, you know? And everybody feels that sensation, and they all feel hugged by you because you chose to love them all together as one. Not loving one over another, but loving them all, just thankfully loving them all. The angels not more than the Arcturians, or the Arcturians not more than the angels, just loving them all. I start to see water fountains appear, like the sound and the flow of water, and there's sensation of water fountains, but I'm seeing a specific water fountain that's like a three-tiered cake, okay? But they're kind of risen portions that are kind of the fountain and a fountain and a fountain. It all pours into this like wider rounded one at the bottom. And the angels and Arcturians are welcoming you to drink of the water. And there is a bit of a resistance, because the resistance is only there because it doesn't want you to expand. So what you doesn't want you to expand, and what you is choosing to drink the water. That's why you have to be very firm with what you want, so that these other parts can align with what you want. If you want to drink the water, then drink the water. And if weird images come up that are like gross and nasty, don't even give it another thought. Just whatever. Okay, thank you for showing me. Thank you for showing me this. And then just let them move through until they don't come back. And embrace what you want and the joy of what you want. It's therapy, it's expansion, it's self-love. Makes you glow inside. It makes you feel empowered. Makes you embrace who you are. So you're drinking the water. And you say, it's just water. I mean, you literally say it's just water, and it is just water. Yeah, okay, it is just water. And you say it's just water. Like, there's no miracle in this water. There's no answer to everything. There's no birth of the whole universe, you know? There's no, like, outrageous phenomenon in this water. It's just water. And it's interesting because part of the message is more practical. It's like acknowledging things for as they are. Obviously there's many sides of water. Like, water is a wise consciousness in the universe. Water, like, we can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, a bajillion different meanings of water. But in this vibrational case, this water is just simply water. It's like seeing things for as they are. It's water. It's not saying this is a miracle or this is a, you know, something, something, something. It's actually getting grounded in the truth of that this is water, and just letting it be water. This is a tree. This is grass. This is the earth. This is the human race. It's, you know, it kind of reminds me of, been thinking a lot about this concept of, as a human being, how much of our life is focused in practical thinking versus intuitive thinking versus fantasy? And where are we and in the midst of this on a day-to-day basis? And if we're living year after year after year in a fantasy, only to wake up in practical reality, were we intuitively thinking that something of this fantasy level was going to manifest in our life if we just gave it enough time? Avoiding the practical steps or the practical truth that just simply exists as it exists. There's value to working in the practical, and there's value working in the intuitive and the fantasy, right? But this is really yes or no. I like this. I'm going to stay in this without even needing to think about it. It just is that way. This is water. I mean, this is literally what they're showing me, okay? I'll let you think about it. You embrace it as water. You don't embrace it as holy water or living consciousness. You embrace it as water. And it's a physical tool. This water is physical. As your body is physical, as your mind, your organs are physical. It is a physical tool. It's introducing you to the physical and the tools you have access to in the physical versus the energy world, for instance, and knowing the difference and how to work with the difference, and the importance of, again, working with the physical tools as they are. This is interesting. I see the original boat that had the yellow bottom is now a full-sized boat, and you are inside of it. This doesn't look like Earth at all. And the water doesn't look like our water. It changes color, basically. It's different shades of blue. It goes super dark blue into almost white in places. But it's always moving white into dark blue. It's always changing as it's moving. And you're just having a very basic boat ride in what would be like an ocean. It seems like cold water, but I don't ever feel cold about it. And the sun feels distant, but I do like the bright sunlight. The boat is made out of wood, by the way. And you just sit on the boat and you look at the vast world, which is all ocean in every direction. And you experience the distant sun, which is still warm and shines light. And you don't ever feel cold. And somehow this makes you cry. And you feel like life is beautiful. All right. That was really, really nice. I love talking to Arcturians. They're just so straight and narrow, but they're so understanding and can really teach us how to really value who we are and work with who we are as an individual, and help us to access more of who we are as an individual, more than what we're able to understand or be aware of. I really like that. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. I'll be thinking about this for a while. All right. Thank you for the experience. Thank you for sharing. And everybody watching, thank you so much for participating in this and sharing all your thoughts and feelings about the experience. I hope you all have a very wonderful rest of your day.